Hey, welcome back to GGinspire. I've got the infamous Coach Hue Jackson on Be Inspired today. I am fired up about it. Thank you, Hue, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so excited. I am just I'm an honor. It's an honor to be able to spend some time with you. We've gotten to know each other. We've become friends over the years. I was thinking back when I asked you to do this. I was thinking back about the first time that I met you,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in downtown LA. You were here
Yes.
to visit. It was during the off season, and I remember, Jewel introduced us, and I was pretty intimidated. I was like, "Oh, he's an NFL coach," and but we got to spend some time together. We got to know each other a little bit, and I just found that he was such a real soul, and it taught me a lot about people in different backgrounds. You can come from any background, good, bad,
Yes.
struggle, comfortable, but what really matters is your effort
Mm-hmm.
and the work that you put into it, and Hugh has an incredible work ethic. He loves his family. He holds everyone around him and especially himself to very, very high standards,
Mm-hmm.
and that is just the mindset of a champion. He's a coach in every aspect of the word. He runs a tequila company. He is in real estate investments. He's got his hands in multiple businesses. He's got a foundation. Talk a little bit about that later, but he is just really, really out to be able to help other people. So Hugh, thank you for doing this, and let's get into it, my friend.
Let's go. Thank you. Like I said, thank you for having me. It's a tremendous relationship that I have with you and Jewel. You guys have touched so many people's lives and helped people along the way, and truly, I love that because it's truly about giving back, and you guys give back in a really special way. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that we could, kind of help you in some ways,
Mm-hmm.
and help you learn. And it's interesting because when we first met, you had zero time, like no time to talk to
Right.
me. I remember there was one. I always pride myself on being trying to be unobtrusive but persistent. And there was one day that I don't know if we were on the phone or we were on text, and you were like, "I don't think you understand that I am really busy. I
Right.
have no time to talk to you." I got it. But and you're all juggling so much. And so I'm curious, just with career and family and the foundation and your health and all that, how do you manage to handle it all, juggle it all, and appear so calm on the other
Well, I
side?
think the thing that I do, Gillian, is I start out every day on my knees because all those things you just mentioned will put you on your knees at some point in time in your life. And if you have that foundation that you can always go back to, what is your why you do things, what is important to you, why do you make decisions that you make, why do you do the work that you do? And you said it. I mean, I'm not going to be, I'm being very transparent. I get tired like anybody else, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm accountable to so many different things that I have my hands in that I have to stay on top of it, to be the best version of me for so many different others. So that's
Hmm.
important to me.
That's huge because playing that different role for so many different people, it really is a balancing act, and being able to figure out how to manage it all. But you have kind of like your game face,
Hmm.
right? So, this podcast is designed for entrepreneurs. It's
Hmm.
the ups and downs, the challenges, the good, the bad, the ugly, the experience. And frankly, to be really honest, it's an FU to everyone who told me not to do it, not to become an entrepreneur. So I'm curious for you. I mean, do you feel like entrepreneurs out there, to have success, do they have to have their game face, or are they letting everybody into their life and kind of letting everybody know what's going on?
I think they're letting people into their life and let them know what's going on because I think true entrepreneurs understand that everybody's not built that way. And
Hmm.
I think you're only as good as the master. I don't care what anybody says. You can learn things, but the people who have those particular skills, like yourself, you can teach people. But if people don't have that fire and passion, desire that you have to take it to another level, you're never going to get to that level. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want those things, they wanted it quick and easy. It doesn't work that way. You got to work at it, and you got to really dig in and roll up your sleeves and go to work. And that's the only way to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to. I mean, you have to be able, there's no elevator to success. You got to take the stairs. You got to grind it. Sometimes you might need to claw your way up those stairs.
Yes.
But it's that passion and that grit that makes it so much of a victory when you get there.
No, there's no doubt. That's the satisfying way, though. When something's given to you, it probably won't last very long. The luster is going to wear off, but when you've earned it, because you've walked every step, you know exactly what it looks like, feels like, smells like, you get it. Then all of a sudden, when you do get it, I think you have an appreciation for it, and I think you keep it because you understand how hard it was to get it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You value it when it's handed. It's it's what I try to work on with my kids all the time about entitlement. I'm like, let me make you work for it versus just handing it to you.
Yes.
So there's an actual lesson there, right?
There is. No doubt. No doubt.
Do you feel like we have to have a balance? How do you find a balance? How do you think entrepreneurs that are coming up in this time can find balance and can find clarity with all of these things going on?
Gillian, it's different for everybody. I'll be the first to say I don't have balance. And that's something I've tried to work on and be a bit better. And sometimes I think God took my job from me to say, I'm going to force you to have a little bit more balance in your life. I chased it my whole career because I was a young Black man growing up in South Central LA. And I know what I saw and I know what I didn't want to experience for the rest of my life. So I always ran from that. And so I always turn to work. Work's been my safe haven. I love football. It's what I'm passionate about. It's the true thing that makes me go. But at the same time, through all of my life experiences, I found so many other things that give me the same satisfaction that football has. But I had to grow into that. It took some time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know what? It's interesting because I've heard over my years as I have been going towards entrepreneurship and after it, people will tell you have to find balance. The great ones always strive to find balance. But most of the people that are actually great tell me, no, I'm not balanced. Right. I was completely out of balance. I tried sometimes, but if you balance everything, the scale's at zero.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So you're not progressing when that happens. So I'm glad that you said that because I actually don't want people to think that you're going to have a balanced life on the way to the top.
You can't. And I tell people that all the time. And things suffer. I'll be the first to tell you that, whether it's relationships, things you want to do with your kids that maybe you don't get a chance to do because you're trying to give them something better. You're trying to pass something down better to them. So I get caught in opportunities that I didn't have as a young man. I wanted to make sure my kids experienced them because I wanted to. And so if anything I've done that I'm proud of is that I've created an environment for my kids to be the best they can be, that they have a chance to truly chase being great at a higher level than I ever could have, because I provide the resources for them to be able to do that.
That's so huge because, in the entrepreneurship game, so to speak, you're sacrificing the now for the future, for what is to come. And that's a concept I'm working on with my kids. I'm trying to, sell them that vision of what it's going to look like when, yes. I know I missed your soccer game, but here's what mommy did instead. That's going to do X, Y, Z for us for the future. And it's hard.
And they really understand it. They don't understand it right now. And I'm sure you're doing a great job of explaining it, but they will later. They will come to go back to those conversations that mom had with them. And then they'll start to understand why, and they will pass them down. Because I know my older kids, that's where they are. They truly understand why now. And they go, wow, Dad, I didn't get it, but I truly understand it now. And I appreciate it, because I have had more opportunities than anybody I know, and I'm taking advantage of them. And because of that, the scale is moving for me. And that's what you want for your kids.
Absolutely. It's that drive for a better life,
Hmm.
you know? So, okay, so I'm going to kind of switch it up now. I like to,
Let's
throw you for
go.
a ball and make it fun, right? Okay, so I
Uh-huh.
like to do this or that. And I know some of these answers, but I know other people aren't going to know them. So, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like a few close friends, or do you prefer a big circle?
I prefer a real small circle because there's so many things that um, make me tick. You got to have people hold you accountable. So I have an
Yeah.
accountability circle of friends that I trust. There's three of
Hmm.
us, and we always check in with each other. It's so important. We do it by degrees. Where are you at? Are you 50%? Are you 60%?
Yeah.
You 80%? How's home? How is life? How is work? How is business? How is financial flow? We ask ourselves all these tough questions, and
Hmm.
you can't do that with a lot of people because some people don't like to share. I mean,
Right.
you have to be with people who are going to be very transparent and be people who you trust. And if you don't trust people, you won't let them ask you the tough questions or say the tough things to you.
Mm.
So you got to be really selective in the people that you put in your circle because I've seen people out of the circle real quick because they just don't share that same vision.
Yeah. They don't want to share. You said,
Mm-mm.
well, you said it. They don't want to share the pieces that you need. You have to have that relationship where you feel safe, and you
Yes.
can have that level of
Yes.
trust. That's
Yes.
huge. That's huge. So, well, here's another one. Spotlight or quiet time? Like, what's when you're in your element? What's better?
Spotlight. I think I
Spotlight.
I perform better when I'm under the gun and when I
Yeah.
think people are expecting something and wanting something because that's what I deliver the most. That's what my life has been. So I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me. I mean, whether it's going good or it's going bad, I just know how to power through it and keep going.
That is amazing. That is a huge quality of that. That's your championship mindset of being able
Hmm.
to just power through good or bad.
Hmm.
People shouldn't know whether you're winning or losing by what's going on your face or what's going on,
Absolutely.
in front of you. So that's huge. Okay, so flight or road trip?
Flight for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there as
I knew
fast
I knew
as I
that one.
can.
Fast, right?
So
Get it done.
yes, yes.
Um, okay. So why do you think so many people are pushing to be entrepreneurs right now? I mean, regardless, we just had all these people leave their jobs, the great resignation, and many of them are starting businesses. So why do you think there's that bigger push now more than ever?
Gillian, I think the great pandemic taught a lot of people that you had to find different ways to create things in your life. It's like Who Moved My Cheese, that book,
Mm-hmm.
where's the next opportunity? What am I
Yeah.
going to do? A lot of people, you hear people use the term pivot. So I pivot to this. I started trying this. And it was fear for a lot of people at first because they didn't know what was on the
Yeah.
other side of it. And then they started to see, wait a minute, I am making it. I am becoming a little bit more successful, maybe not working as hard at it as I thought I had to, and it's more rewarding for me. So everybody started finding a balance, and I think the entrepreneurship has given people a chance to rediscover who they are, and truly understand what their why is and why they want to do the things that they want to do now.
Mm-hmm. That's enormous. That right there, though, because it's a shift. It's an absolute shift. We've been through so much. I mean,
Hmm.
it's been a traumatic time. We were on Zoom together talking all through this, right? I
Yes,
remember you were like, "So what are you recommending
yes,
for
sir.
people for this, and how much this?" And I was like, it's different for everybody, but
Hmm.
there's this immense pressure to find what makes you happy. Now
Yes.
it's not anymore like I have to, serve this master, so to speak, this
Hmm.
job, this whatever.
Hmm.
It's now maybe following my heart.
Oh, absolutely. But we've all
Yeah.
learned, I know I have, you don't really have control of your life and your future unless you do, not somebody else. And when you're
Yeah.
working for somebody else, they really have control of it. I told myself after 4 years ago that I never wanted to be in a situation where somebody could tell me no. I just,
Yeah.
regardless of what it was, and I felt like it was going to just uproot my life and just turn me upside down. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm to an age where I don't want to feel like that. So it was important for me to, like you said, to search for different ways to put myself in a better position that if I did want to do something, I didn't have to. And I think everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be in control. But we've been so conditioned to go work for somebody and let them
Yeah.
tell us how it is and let them tell us how much money we make and get the company bonus and get the company raise, all those things.
Yep.
Well, that's not really living, that's
Yeah.
living and working for somebody else. And it's really amazing that it's taken me this long to truly understand that.
Yeah. It is. It's a journey. And I saw it years ago. I mean, people still ask me, how come you left medicine? Because I didn't want anybody to have control over my future.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't. And regardless in what space. And so it is a big shift that's
Mm-hmm.
happened. But there's also a lot of pressure. And like we were already talking about, like you're no stranger to pressure, like the NFL, TSU. Like, how did you develop this mental toughness to weather these transitions? And and I'm sure that's set you up for business, but how do
Mm-hmm.
you weather that? How do you handle it?
Because I have a confidence that I'm really good at what I do and I've worked at it, and I've had the highs and the lows. And through the lows, I've learned to become a little bit more thick skinned and
Mm-hmm.
understand that sometimes it's not really about me, it's bigger than me. And as you
Mm,
said, life is about a lot of lessons, and what do you learn? What did you learn about this? What did you learn about that? How did this affect you in so many different ways? I think those are the questions people don't go back and ask themselves. When you're in it and something hurts, you just want the hurt to go away. You don't want to
mm-hmm.
deal with it. And I've been there before, but I think you got to ask yourself why. Why am I in this position? Did I miss something along the way that was going to lead to this, or did I not really pay attention to the things that I thought was important? Did I lower my standards? Did I not catch the opportunity at the right time? Whatever that is, but you got to be
Yeah.
really honest with yourself. And I think that's how I make it through, and there's some things that I wish I could do different. I'll be the first to tell you that. But at the same time, I'm very happy with me and who I am and what I stand for. And that probably will never change for me.
Wow. It's that introspection,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's that ability to really look at how could I, where might I have improved or done differently. And that's something I think a lot of people are not willing to do. And so
Mm-mm.
that's a huge tip he just gave you guys as entrepreneurs. You got to be willing to own your part of it and
Yes.
own how you could do it differently or better, because it's not always somebody else's
Oh,
fault.
yeah. And
It's
people don't want to
you
call
know
themselves out. How do you call your own self out? People don't understand how to do that. That's why I think you got to have a real tight circle of people who will challenge you and say, no, wait a minute. That's not what you said.
Yeah.
Because I've learned in life, we as parents sometimes, like, who holds the parent accountable for the kid? It's just so many things, that we deal with every
Yes.
day. And if you don't have those type of people that will help you through those moments, it is hard. And so
Yeah.
I get it. And I hope people understand look, I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, but at the same time, I'm no different or no better than anybody else. I have my own struggles. I have issues that I deal with just like everybody else. But at the same time, I
Yeah.
don't let them rule me. And if I want something bad enough, there's a burning
Mhm.
desire in me, inside of me, to go get it. Regardless if it's a job, if it's a career, I mean, if it's an opportunity, I go for it. And I think people get afraid, especially in this entrepreneurial world. They get afraid to step out. Maybe you got to spend a little bit of money. Why not
Yeah.
invest in yourself? You have to invest in yourself, and people don't want to do that. Well, if I do this, I can't pay for this next week. Well, if you do this, you might be able to pay 2 times for it next week. You just don't know. So
Right.
yeah, I get it, but people don't understand that because there's fear.
Yeah.
Fear stops a lot of people from becoming what they truly want to become.
Oh, 1,000%. Wow. And you have an accountability circle, but I know you have a wonderful accountability partner at home.
Mm-hmm.
So in Michelle, and I
Mm-hmm.
was I was just looking up the other day when you guys jumped in Lake Erie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that happened right around the time that we met. It was probably like a little bit before. I feel like it was cold then. But so how have you both stayed on track, kept each other on track over the years, because you've been together since college.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing.
Well,
She's
thank you.
absolutely amazing.
Well, I think she gets it. She gets it that I have created this environment for her, the girls, to be the best they can be. And I've
Yeah.
taken on all the arrows, the knives, everything. It comes at you, and she hasn't seen me falter not one bit. It's been hard sometimes, but I get up and I keep on going. And so there's some things that have happened in our lives that some people don't get up from. They never come back. And I know not only come back, I come back better, and it's because of my group, my people, my family, no doubt about it. But I mean, they've seen me, like I said, when it's good and when it's bad. And so when it's bad, they've seen me still be the same person I am, but know that I have a hurt, but I'm able to move beyond that, keep going.
The consistency.
Yes.
She's seen you be consistent over these years.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge piece. Okay. So historic and scenic, or tropics and sun?
Tropics and sun, no doubt.
No doubt. Okay. Everybody says that. I'm like, who goes to the history stuff? I don't know. So vodka or tequila?
Tequila.
Yes. Gran Leanda, right?
Gran Leanda, no doubt.
What is it? Don't panic. It's organic.
Absolutely. It is. So 100% USDA organic tequila.
I love it. It's so good, you guys. You got to go out and get you some for sure. It's amazing. So you also, you and Michelle run the foundation together. Okay. So I want to talk about your foundation a little bit. Would you speak a little bit on the foundation and how it's, I mean, obviously it's very close to your heart. And I believe that entrepreneurs should be looking at causes that are close to their heart to be able to give back to. But how has running the foundation, kind of set you free in some ways? I mean, what has it done for you?
Well, it's allowed me and my family a chance to give back to something we're very passionate about, which is human trafficking. We've established a foundation in Cleveland. Matter of fact, we have a residence at the Harbor Light District with the Salvation Army in Cleveland, where we house human trafficking victims, where we try to create, everything we can to give them the resources to get back on their feet, to be able to leave their traffickers and get back to normal life. We're really, it's just really painful to think what people go through in that space. People will take another human being and use them for financial gain. It just doesn't, it's unheard of. And sometimes it really hits in families. And I think people will be shocked at what human trafficking is. So I'm very passionate about it. My family is. Kimberly Demir, who runs our foundation. She's my executive assistant. She is just sensational. She's done a lot of great work in the space, and we're going to continue to fight this battle.
She's amazing. She doesn't sleep, that woman.
No, she doesn't.
Like never.
No.
Never. She's like the FBI all rolled into one.
Yes, she
is. She's no joke. But it's a really, and I know a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but I heard a statistic: 800,000 kids a year disappear. Yes. Where do they go?
It is it's $1 billion business. And it's sad.
It's
I mean,
terrifying.
We have kids. It's not just young girls; it's boys as well. And so it's affecting everybody. I mean, it doesn't have a color issue. It doesn't have a economic issue. It is a problem, and it's a problem that we need to address because it is definitely hurting people, but more so it's hurting kids more so than anything.
Absolutely. And I want to give the site. It's huejackson.org, right? To follow Hue's site, to follow the foundation. And then where can they follow you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram at HueJack5. Yeah, Hue Jackson 5. Yeah, okay. Hue Jackson 5.
Okay.
And I'm on Twitter. I'm on all those things. I don't really do it a lot. I think you know that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I mean, I have learned it's been great for me. A lot of people will DM me about the foundation. They will DM me about tequila. They'll DM me about football. Whether it's youth, whether it's older people, it's been awesome. I've never thought I would fall in love with social media, but I truly get it now. Everybody say, "Here, you gotta go get your blue check." That stuff doesn't matter to me. It never has. It never will
Yeah.
because I get so many people saying you've got to go get verified. I'm like, I don't care. I really don't. I am who I am, but I do understand. I'm starting to understand why it's so important. So important.
Yeah. It's the reach,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
the ability to reach more and more people and
Yes.
having a voice. Like it used to be that if you don't have a website, you don't have a business, you know.
Yes.
Now they're like, oh,
Yes.
I guess you need to be verified in order to be able
Yeah.
to make an impact, But so last question, Hugh, and
Hmm.
again, I appreciate this so much.
Sure.
Um, if you were starting a business new, if you were a brand new entrepreneur out there looking at what do I do, you know, maybe what would you do differently, and what would you advise to up and coming entrepreneurs now?
My young self would probably sit with you and find out what I needed to do to make my life better. What do I need to do to understand money? What do I need to do to understand taxes? What do I need to do to understand capital gains? I mean, all those things are so important, and we don't get that education in school. I mean, Gillian, the things the information you can impart to people, they can't get it anywhere else. And
Yeah.
I'm sure their parents don't know. I'm sure a lot of their friends don't know. We might have a friend who has a lot of money, but those people normally don't share their secrets. You're a wealth of knowledge and you're going to share. That's more important than anything, to be able to sit with a younger you and ride this wave with you and understand how money really works and how to save dollars and how to make dollars grow for you is invaluable.
Well, that is a wonderful endorsement.
It's
I
the but it's
appreciate
but
that.
I but it's the truth, and I want people to understand
Yeah.
that it's real. There's a lot of people, Gillian, that's stuck. They don't know what to do. They
Yeah.
and they have started entrepreneur businesses, and they're a little stuck because they don't know how to scale. They don't know where to go get a loan from, or how to apply for a loan, or what they need to do to make that next turn, and they give up. You start into something, you think you can make it, but you don't have the knowledge to finish it. And that to me is more scarier than anything. You get excited in the beginning about starting something like, wow, this is going to go. And you look up and the infrastructure is wrong and it crumbles and it falls apart. And you go, oh my gosh, what did I do? That happens
Hmm.
every day. That because they don't have a you to say, now listen, you gotta cross this T and dot this I and make sure this is this way, or else it's going to come back to bite you. And people, oh, I don't want to hear that because they don't, because things are going. But 4 months from
Yeah.
now, they finally call you and say, you know what? You're right. Can you help me out? That's what
Yes.
this
And I
is.
will still help. I will
Yes,
still
yes,
help.
you will. Yes, you will.
Um, Well, that's huge, and I appreciate that. But it's true. It's true, and that's
Hmm.
I left a different field to become an entrepreneur in the financial industry because I realized that there was no education, and
Right.
whether an entrepreneur or not, you need an opportunity to be able to educate yourself, and really because ultimately we're all doing this for a better life.
Yes.
We're working our butts off at a job or starting a business because we want something more with our lives. We want more
Yes.
freedom. We want more time. We want more happiness and
Yes.
peace,
Yes.
and most of the time, the thing that stresses us out the most is our money.
Yes.
And that's
But
why,
think about
and
it. People are really
you know,
trading time for money every day, you
yeah,
know? And I'm back in the coaching world. And again, I'm on a routine. But that's what I've known. So I'm okay with it. I understand it. But I had to retrain myself again because I had been out of that. Didn't need to do that. I was
yeah,
kind of doing what I wanted to do. So it's been fun, but boy, it's opened my eyes a different way too. Do you really want to do this at that level? Because you
yeah,
don't have to, and it's different.
yeah, absolutely. Well, you're somebody that has the mental toughness, the mental capacity to be able to run a massive, massive business, but it comes from those years of training and working and work ethic and habits and discipline. All those things are the things that they don't teach us in school. You know, those are the things that you've learned along the way that have created really has been able to allow you to thrive in the business world as well. So I'm grateful for your time, for the opportunity for people to hear from you, because it really is something important that people need to know. And need to know they have resources and they have options out there, and they can get help. So,
and they need to use them. That's the biggest thing I would tell anybody. Go use the resources that are afforded to you to grow and become truly what you want to become in this life.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you so much, Hue, and everybody out there. Be inspired, you guys. We can do huge things in our lives if we're just inspired. So be inspired for a great life. Take care. See you next time.